I can honestly say there isn't an area in my life where I haven't thought I can think my way out of this problem. You know, that's what thinking's for, right? And I would say it's only been recently, like the last 10, 12 years, where I've really come to understand that we can't just think our way out of a problem. Adopt the new mindset, do the course, watch the video, read the book, and then everything changes. Actually, I found myself quite frustrated that I do these things and yet nothing changed. And if that's been the case for you, then this is what this video is all about. We're going to talk about how you can't think your way out of a problem, that actually trying to think your way out of a problem can sometimes make things worse. And I want to talk about how we can learn to work with the body, apply thinking at the appropriate times, and importantly, take action on and execute, have that follow through on the thing that we really want to do. So it's not a case of not understanding. We can conceptually understand all these things, this new bits of information that we're taking from all these different resources. But the problem about taking all this information in, it can make a decision more complex. And if the body hasn't got the capacity to make a decision, or even if we are able to make a decision and we've chosen direction we want to head in, still can't execute, follow through, because the stresses in the body doesn't allow us to do that. The allostatic load has built too much. Simply put, too much stress in the body works against us being able to take action in those areas in our lives. And no matter how much new information we take in, if we don't address that underlying issue of the stress loads within the body, then it doesn't matter how much new bits of information we take in, it won't bring any lived change for us. This can occur in all areas of life, and I definitely try to think myself out of lots of different situations, different areas of my life. But most recently, I suppose, would be an example of my business. And it was when I was teaching my yoga classes, and the feedback, or, you know, how things were running, I could see it wasn't working. I'd say at that point as well, even though I was taking in new information and trying to look at new options, maybe initially I didn't even know the next step forward. But even when I had been able to zoom out enough and I could see what I needed to change direction, it is what was needed in this instance. So I could see the bigger picture. I'd zoomed out enough to see that I actually needed to change direction. But that also meant I needed to acquire new skills, look at loads of different new systems, software systems, and basically come up with a new business model. So although I could see it, I still didn't follow through in the way I expected. Read more books, watched the videos, did all of those things, and yet I still didn't execute on the things that I could see would bring about the change. And I think this is where a lot of advice out there really breaks down, where you'll see like, oh, do this course, follow this framework, think differently. And even if you can see the path that's been presented to you, or you can see your own path forward, and you've zoomed out enough and you've been able to make a choice or decision, that execution doesn't occur if the conditions within the body that are needed for action aren't there yet. So it's a body issue. We've not allowed the body to catch up. No one person is the same. And this is why I find it so frustrating with this one size fits all idea, because everybody's body is different, first of all. So what we're carrying, our stress loads from our day to day, varies wildly between me, you, everybody. It's all so different emotionally, practically, financially, and in our relationships, that's all different. So you've got those variables about what we're actually carrying on in our day to day. And then people also differ in how much they can tolerate, like take on new. So, and this can change day to day, moment to moment as well. How much additional responsibility, complexity, uncertainty that we can all individually handle is so individual. And then to top that off, we all have different perspectives, right? So we all see things differently. How I'm interpreting life is going to be different to how you're interpreting life. And again, this just adds to why the one size fits all just doesn't work, and why taking more information won't just help us think our way out of our problems, because how we take in that information, how we see it, is so varied as well. How we interpret things all depends on our own personal nervous systems, the pressures we're already carrying, our personal histories that inform our perspective as well. So even this factor can affect how we take this information in. So how we're going to receive it is going to be different. How we can handle it is going to be different. And this is where I think a lot of the frameworks that we'll see in courses and so on fail, because it's an expectation that the same steps, you know, using the same amount of effort, work harder, push more, will work for everybody. And yeah, okay, you could argue that, why then can some people do the courses or read the book and they just get it and they're able to action? Sometimes it all depends upon the container, it's the nuance in it, it's the support that then is adjusted to the individual. And I think it's there. That's the really interesting part. It's that nuance, it's that ability to adjust, see what additional support is needed. Sometimes that's in like networks and groups that we join. Even like, you know, a chat online can give us that additional bit of support that might be needed. So going back to my situation, what I needed was less thinking, and I needed to lower my allostatic load. I needed to lower the overall stresses that I was carrying, because until I addressed that load, you know, the body is in a protective state, it's reserving energy, risks can feel higher. Even the way I was thinking was, you know, in a more sort of narrower focus, more repetitive, where you get stuck in the loops of thought, more defensive generally. And that's why we're in those kind of states that even if we're aware of what's needed, we can't execute, because we can only create the capacity to take the new information in thoroughly in a different way and act upon it when we've allowed our day-to-day lives to update our body system. So allow those emotional responses that have been interrupted to complete, allow those to inform us and integrate through the body and update. If we're not completing those cycles and we're just pounding the body with more and more information, we're just building this load overall to the point where we get to those confused states where we can't think our way out and we can't see the right direction to head in, never mind execute on it. And if we don't address that, and we're just asking people to think differently and apply this system, apply this frame, while their body is overloaded, we're just going to keep seeing the same patterns. We're going to keep taking on the new information, but not acting on it. Not going to bring any lived change to our lives, because we're just stuck in the repetitive patterns, which is a protective state. Body is looking after us in that way, but it doesn't bring about any of the change that we're maybe seeking by looking at all this new information. So anyway, I hope you found some of this video helpful. It'd be great to hear your thoughts on it. Is there a particular area in your life that you've maybe can see the way but aren't executing on it, or somewhere where you're not sure at all? Wonderful to hear from you, and it's been great to have you here. I look forward to seeing you in the next one, and yeah, please don't forget to like and subscribe. Okay, bye.